Welcome to the Senior Safety Advice Podcast, your trusted source for expert guidance on aging safely and independently. Whether you're a caregiver, a family member, or a senior looking to stay secure at home and beyond, we've got you covered. From fall prevention and home modifications to financial safety and scam awareness, we provide practical tips to help you or your loved ones live with confidence. Tune in and empower yourself with the knowledge you need to navigate the challenges of aging. Let's make safety simple.
Hello, Mr. Bhatia.
Hi, Esther. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me for a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for taking the time.
Oh, sure. No problem. I love the concept of your product.
I'm glad to hear that. Did you check out our website?
I'm looking at it right now. I mean, I love the best thing that I think about it is that it's you don't need Wi-Fi. Because
Correct.
that's the one issue that I hear a lot of people say, well, my parents don't have Wi-Fi. Well, then what? You're stuck. So I love that concept. What I wanted to know about it though was when it sends a message, and I mean, I haven't looked at the video or anything, but when it sends a message, is it always a text message or does it do phone calls as well?
No, it could be text or email. Excuse me. We find that text is much more immediate and reliable.
Yeah.
And why don't I show you what it looks like if you have a minute?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I'm going to share my
Absolutely.
screen.
And also the Lake Oswego area that you guys are in is beautiful.
Have you been?
I've been. You're very lucky.
Yeah, we enjoy it. Where are you now, Esther?
I'm northeast of Atlanta, Georgia.
Got it. And have you been there long?
I've been here since about 20 years now.
Got it.
Yeah, 18, 20 years. Before that, I was in South Florida. Before that, I was in Brooklyn. Before that, I was in Venezuela. My parents are from Sicily. My sister's born in London. I don't know. We're from everywhere. I say we're from the planet Earth, I don't know.
A global traveler. What brought you to Portland and Lake Oswego?
Oh, actually, we went to Portland for our honeymoon.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, because it was the only part of the country neither of us had ever been to. And we were there 2.5 weeks and we traveled everywhere. We went to the coast, we went to Mount Hood, we went north, we went south, and every time we came back, we went to a different part of Portland because it has those 5 boroughs and each one is very unique and different. It was amazing. And I go back every now and then and I look for a place on Cannon Beach, or I have a friend out there it's beautiful. You're very lucky to be living there. It's a beautiful state.
We've really enjoyed the diversity of landscapes and how quickly you can get from the coast to the mountain to high desert, etc. And it's been really interesting to see all the different seasons and etc. We moved up from Southern California 10 years ago or so. But we weren't strangers to the area. My in-laws have lived here since the 80s. So we were combining, sort of bringing family together. And then my parents decided to move here in 2019 as well. And so I guess we're here now. And my daughter is just about to go off to college. And so
Congratulations.
Thank you. So on to new adventures.
Yes. And I hope not too expensive of an adventure. It is what it is.
Yeah, she's fortunately going to a public school up in Washington at University of Washington, so she's close by, and she will. So it'll be fine. It's only we only have the one, so.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not too bad. I hope she picks a major that AI will be friendly to.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think it's somewhere biology related, but it's not clear whether it's going to be biochemistry or it's going to be biomedical engineering. So we're figuring that out.
No, well, it sounds like she's on a good path. I have a friend of mine her daughter is now in Boston for product design. I didn't even know that was such a thing.
Oh yeah.
Product design. So she wanted to mesh engineering and graphics.
Got it.
There you go.
Got it. Um,
Yeah.
before
Anyway,
we
so
dive,
show me. Yeah.
before we dive deep into the product, tell me a little bit about sort of what do you do?
Oh, so I am an occupational therapist. I'm a retired occupational therapist. And when I retired from OT a few years ago, I went into internet marketing because at that time with OT, I was doing a lot of training, continuing ed. And so I was using the internet a lot. And I just thought it was amazing. So I retired from OT because I was getting too old to. I worked in geriatric head injury. That was my specialty. And now that I'm 67, I'm officially retired. I wanted to do something where I could combine both skills. So I developed a blog several years ago, Senior Safety Advice, and it's just, information about what I know about caregiving and caring for seniors and aging in place. And come to find out that I was getting a lot of emails, people asking me, well, where are all these people that you keep talking about? And I thought that they would be easy to find, and they're not. There's one on Facebook, one on LinkedIn. Many of them don't have websites or any kind of
Right?
presence. And I thought this is ridiculous. I mean, obviously, 10,000 plus people a day are turning 65 till
Yeah.
forever, it seems, with our generation, boomers, and then the next generation. So I thought, well, there has to be some kind of an Angie's List for aging
Hmm.
in place, not only the providers, but products, services, anything related, resources. And that's how I started Aging in Place Directory. So I'm in the process of building that and getting that going. And then in the midst of all that, AI and everything else that's coming along. So now for the members of the directory, I do weekly webinars on marketing, and I use all my internet marketing skills for that, training and programs and everything else. So I'm really enjoying it. It's much better than a lot of my retired friends, go out to lunch and go to the book club and, you know, I think it's a little better than that. At least I
It's a lot
feel
better
like
than
I'm
that.
doing something. I'm giving back somehow.
Absolutely. Tell me a little bit about how many people visit the directory every day, or what are the metrics for that?
Oh, we're getting about 150 a day so far. It's a fairly new directory.
Yeah.
So we're slowly building that up. I'm working on, I have articles on the directory to attract homeowners. And then I'm, putting articles and newsletters out almost every day on LinkedIn, trying to attract the business services to get onto the directory. So I know that I have to build up the directory before I can really market it to homeowners. Although what I'm hearing now from the members of the directory is that they're getting calls from the directory. So that makes me feel good because I mean I don't track that part of it.
Sure.
But it's getting there. I just opened up a podcast for it, and that one I think had 600 downloads last month, so that was pretty good. And then a YouTube channel that I'm putting the podcasts on for that. Um, and the way, because I wanted to build it up for the homeowners, I can't really market it to them until I have a lot of providers.
Sure.
So that's why I made the first 365 days free for the providers, get them on board and
Sure.
have them, and then later, charge a nominal fee. I mean, I can't decide yet whether I'm going to make it 15 a month or 20 a month. I don't know. I can't decide yet. But anyway, whatever it is, it won't be very much. And I'm just looking for advice from anyone, any of the members, like what else would you like the directory to do for you? Besides give people a placement of where you are. Because not everybody is local. Your product is worldwide, I would imagine.
At
Yeah.
least US and Canada, but yeah.
Yeah, at least US and Canada. So that's why I have different sections on there, services, products, and but then what I would like to do eventually is I'd like to take the products and make like a little commercial and put that in the pages with the service providers, and then maybe like, have a monthly thing or I don't know, something like that. Um, But what I would love to do with you, if you don't mind, I would love to do a podcast interview, which then goes on YouTube, and then we can showcase the product there.
Oh,
And
I'd
then
love to do
that
that.
YouTube video,
Yeah,
and I can put the shorts out on LinkedIn or,
yeah.
wherever else. But yeah, so we can schedule that later. But anyway,
Okay.
that's where I'm at. So if you have any ideas,
I
feel
have
free to
lots of
let me
ideas, Esther, and I have lots of places where I need help. So
Oh,
I'm sure we
more
can
than
find.
happy to help.
Okay. So before I dive into the product, let's talk a little bit about why we developed this. So I, we have three co-founders, including myself, Huang and Mark, and I came to the space and I dragged Huang into the space because uh, when I told you my parents moved here in 2019, and then in 2020 my dad was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, sorry.
He fought cancer three times, and then the third time it had spread everywhere, and he passed away in July of 2023. And
Oh,
then uh, watching him sort of deal with illness in hospital, at home, and it's just remarkably different. And then watching my mom figure out how to live by herself for the first time in her life made me realize that there's just not many tools to help people stay connected when you're aging in place. And so we started to think about what could we do to help people check in effectively. That was our Huang and I were thinking about before we met Mark. And then at around the same time, Mark had been thinking about similar space. So he had been volunteering for an organization called Village to Village, which is
okay.
a virtual community for older adults. So people help those that can't, right? So they give rides to each other, etc. And he had volunteered for them. So Mark is 75. He had volunteered for them to be IT support because he's a engineer, electronics engineer, and a physician. And uh, one of their members here in the Lake Oswego area uh, had a medical event, passed away unexpectedly, wasn't found for a number of days in her house. And Mark was like, it was a very disturbing event for a lot of the members. And so Mark was like, there's got to be a better way. And so he put on his old hats of being an electrical engineer, electronics engineer, and he came up with a precursor to this device. So this is our Hello Everyday device, which the lighting is not great. I apologize, but
It's
he
fine. I can
basically,
see it, and I also see it on the website too, but I can see it now. It's good.
he basically created a device that was looking for human presence, and he started to give it to some of the village members to test out. And at the time, it was just basically a proof of life device, right? So are they up every day? Are they not up every day? Somebody should check with them. And last year, he and I got introduced because we were both thinking about the same thing. And Mark was like, "Well, I think there may be a market for this," and I said I agree, given that I've been thinking about it. And we built a company, and we've beta tested this with a number of people. We found exactly what you highlighted in the beginning, which is Wi-Fi is not a winning strategy. Uh, Downloading an app, not a winning strategy. So we eliminated both of those. And we took out a lot of the friction and said, okay, well, all you've got to do is basically take it out of the box and plug it in, and it'll work via cellular. And then we will send messages via text, and that way people will get notified about whether you're doing okay or not. My mom was one of our first testers, and usually I use her sensor for demos, but she's traveling, so it's not very exciting. So I'm actually going to use Mark's sensor, which is in his office. So every day I get a series of reports from a bunch of different people. I get a notification from Mark's sensor, who's my co-founder, that he's active today. And then there are days where I get a sensor report when he's traveling, and I get a report that he's away. Um, and I also get a report from my mom's sensor that says, and right now it says that she's away. So let's look at let's look at Mark's sensor for a second. So this is a link that basically changes every day, and it's valid for 2 days. So that's how we ensure that if the link falls into the wrong hands, it doesn't get used inappropriately. But if you click on that link, it opens up a browser window And it lets you know that this is basically Mark's dashboard. And it lets you know that Mark's sensor is in his office. It displays his phone number. So if I wanted to call him and I was on my phone, I could press that button and it would open up the phone app. It lets me know that there's no alerts right now. His last activity was today at noon, between noon and 1. And the temperature in his house is a comfortable 75.
I
Uh,
love that.
and- excuse me, I can click on the daily chart and I can see I can walk in Mark's shoes. So Mark came into his office between 7 and 8, and he's been in his office at least once every hour since this morning. And that seems like it's a consistent pattern for Mark, right? And there's
Right.
some days where he's in his office till pretty late, and I
Yeah.
know he's working really hard because he's trying to solve a problem. And then there are other days where he's out and about for a couple of hours, but he as Mark says, his office is his happy place. So I'm not surprised that he's in his office a lot, right? Uh, um, so this allows someone like me who is invested in Mark to get a really good idea, even though the sensor is only in one place in a person's home, get a really good idea of what their activity levels are, etc. But if I suddenly saw Mark having activity in the middle of the night, or if I saw Mark's activity being sporadic, that would be an alert that, wait a second, there's something has changed and I should check in with them. Or if I saw no activity and I did expect to see activity, that would also be a data point for us to follow up on. And that's the whole idea. So you can have up to 5 people get these messages, and you can tailor those messages. If you want highest privacy, then all they would get is a message if there was something wrong. And there are 3 conditions that could prompt a message. It could be either that the sensor is unplugged and it's not receiving information. It could be that the temperature in the home is too high, it's above 90 or it's below 50, or that they didn't detect activity throughout the day. So any of those would prompt a message, but otherwise they wouldn't get a message. 2, what we're seeing here, which is the maximum reassurance, where you're actually able to see the hourly charts. And what we find is daughters tend to go in more and check in on their parents, not surprisingly, compared to sons. So sons tend to be very happy with just getting a text saying everything's okay, whereas daughters will often go in and check multiple times a day. And what we're finding is that this substantially changes the relationship that you have. This is a non-verbal communication tool that allows people to get reassured that they're doing okay without having to actively engage. So when you are engaging live, you're actually engaging about them rather than are you okay? And so that reassurance can be a really important element that people don't always know they're missing if they're using an active engagement model like a text or a phone call to check in on each other.
And it's non-invasive. You're
It
not
is.
seeing the person, right?
Correct. We can't tell one person from the next. There are no cameras, there are no microphones. We can't record it, etc. So, in fact, one of the things we were talking about today on our team call was I was asking Mark to figure out a way that we could show my sensors activity on our website to show that there isn't a whole lot of invasiveness, right? Like that this allows people to see that we are walking the walk, as it were.
You mean like a live feed?
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be very cool to see
that's what I'm
that.
saying.
Yeah, that would be very cool. I love that idea. I live alone. My husband passed away years ago. So what I do is every day I text something fun to a group of friends. I used to do like the crazy holiday, today's National Pancake Day or whatever. I did that for a few years. And now what I'm doing are idioms, a crazy idiom and the history of it. So it's just something to say, I'm here, I'm up, and if they don't hear from me by noon, then to check in on me.
Yeah.
But I think the check-in process is so very important I mean, if you want to incorporate those fun ideas into another product, go ahead. It's all yours.
I appreciate that.
But I love the idea that one, it's non-invasive.
Mhm.
I love now when someone gets a message, they just get that message once, right? And then they can check in throughout the day.
That's
So it's
exactly
not
right.
like the phone is constantly, right,
Not buzzing all the time. No.
right, not buzzing all the time. So it's just one, and then they have the dashboard to go to check. And I love that. Like you're right. If you notice that the person is getting up in the middle of the night now and they weren't before, or you notice they're not in the office, by 9 a.m. and they normally are, something's off. I think it's an excellent product. And like I said, the fact that it doesn't need Wi-Fi is, I think, the best. I don't know how you guys did it, but how did you do
It's
that without Wi-Fi?
it's Mark's Genius. So there's actually a cellular modem built in. Let me see if I can show you a picture of that.
What is your background?
So I'm an engineer, Esther. I'm a mechanical engineer, and then I've gone around the block a few times.
Haven't we
I've
all?
been an investment banker, I've been in corporate finance, etc. And so it has allowed me to be on the cusp of where multiple disciplines intersect. I've always believed that that's where value is created rather than being super specialized in one thing.
I
So
agree.
this is what the inside of the device looks like. So
Okay,
what you're looking at, so right here is the cellular modem
I
that
see.
basically connects via cellular to the cloud. And then here is the ESP32. That's a processor inside the sensor. And that's what gives us the ability to provide intelligence so that we can disregard pets, or we can set up so that if somebody has blinds in the background that wave around, we can ignore those blinds, etc. So that intelligence is really important to prevent false positives or false negatives. So
Okay,
it gives us the ability to calibrate, because everyone's room is different and everyone's home is different,
of
etc.
course.
So we can ignore that. So those gating and diagnostic capabilities is what makes it uh, much more helpful from a
Homeowners.
adaptability perspective. Yeah.
Okay. Does it matter? Does it have to be plugged in at a certain height or?
Yeah, it's a great question. So there are two ways to do this. I'm going to unplug this. Uh, So this is what it looks like if you had a stand, and if the wall plug was behind a furniture, this is what you would do. But you also have the ability to plug it in directly into a wall outlet. So you can disregard the wire and the stand completely. And then this little plug goes directly at the back of this.
Okay,
And you can plug this in directly into the wall outlet. So then all it's sitting there is doing this. And it acts as a night light. So it glows white during the night. So it becomes a night.
nice, even better. So it does have to be at a certain height. I mean, you
Uh,
don't want it on the ground.
no, you could have it on the ground. The only downside of having it on the ground is if you have a dog, for
Right.
example, you would want to have it on a counter height. If you have cats, we can basically disregard we can make sure that it disregards any activity right next to the sensor, which is where cats like to go to,
Right.
and so that will not trigger the
Okay.
sensor.
Would it work behind glass?
It would, yeah, it works just
Okay.
fine with glass, but behind glass. Yep.
Wow, that's great. It's great. Well, I hope we can do a podcast. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a link to
Yep.
schedule for that. And then we can do the podcast. And in the meantime, I'm going to, if it's okay, I'm going to do an article on it.
Oh, I'd
And
love that.
yeah, and send that out not only to the websites, but to LinkedIn. I'll do it on both websites, Senior Safety and Aging in Place, and send that out. And I would love for you to go ahead and join the directory. I'll send you a link to that too,
We'd love
so I
that.
can get your product on there. And I see that you have that partnership program that you have. Two of the people
Yeah,
on there are on the
yeah.
directory. And is that an affiliate program or what is the,
Mhm.
okay. I
Yeah,
wasn't
and
a
we
hundred
can we can
percent sure.
add we can add you to that as well, Esther.
Yeah, I actually sent in my info already. I signed up. So when I saw that, because I was looking for an affiliate because I think it's so important in this niche for senior care. I think it's so important to work in a team effort. And what I find when, as I'm talking to so many aging in place specialists like now across the country, is that you're my fourth call today. So as I'm talking to everyone, I notice that so many people aren't working together. You know,
I
the
totally agree.
declutter person should be working with the contractor, with the,
Yeah,
not only just the homeowner, not the client and the family, but all the other people. There's so many, as you saw with your father, there's so many services involved
right.
in caring and in adapting a home. And I'm sure your mother now is your work looking at all of those factors for her.
Yeah.
And I hope that she's doing well, after
The
his
advice I
passing.
gave her was you have two choices when my dad passed. And I said you can either think of this as an adventure or you can withdraw.
Yeah,
And and I highly recommend thinking of it as an adventure. And to her credit, she has leaned in as if it's an adventure. Um, and she's throwing herself. She went to Prague. She's been teaching at the local community college, and she actually went to Prague with them as a part of their program, and she had a great time. She's in India right now. um, and it's still hard. Loneliness is hard, and grief is hard, and it comes in waves, as you know.
it
um,
does.
and it's built a lot of empathy and understanding, and it removed a lot of the judgment that seeps in if you don't really know things up close and personal. And it's taught me just how the differences and how people cope with all of that. So
It's true. I mean, everyone does cope with it differently. Some people just stay stuck in that grief and wallowness or whatever. I don't know. Then they end up becoming a victim of it,
yeah,
really, and they don't know how to get out of it, which I can imagine. I mean, I know that it's hard to get out of that, but you're right. You either have to live in that or you take life as an adventure, what comes next.
right,
And I'm sure, your grief also,
yeah,
obviously it's different from hers because, when you're in a relationship, you just, that's your plan. That's your plan is to be with that person. And then all of a sudden when that breaks, even if you know it's coming, it's still very difficult. It's so hard to change everything. And yeah, I know, but I'm glad that she is taking that adventure.
yeah.
You are,
I am too.
she's very lucky to have you.
I, I I'm glad my parents had the foresight to think of it as an adventure in the first place, to move to Lake Oswego from India, which is a big leap.
Sure.
But they've done. I'm glad we got to build memories here with my dad, which I'm very, very grateful for. And
Good.
so yeah.
Well,
Um,
you've
Esther, I
carved
would
out
love
a very
to,
good life for yourself, Bati.
I appreciate that. I would love for you to try our product. Would you want me to ship a demo unit to you, and would you want to try it?
Sure. I would love that. I'll put my address in the email.
That'd be great.
And then what's a good email for you?
It's Kabir at hello-everyday.com.
Oh, okay. Well, I got that. Hello dash. I got it. So good. I will go ahead and get that at helloeveryday.com. Right. Uh,
Hello-everyday.
Yeah, dash every day.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and get that to you. Yeah, I would love to go ahead and test it. Then that way I can do an unboxing and
Yeah.
then I don't know why people are so fascinated with unboxing, but whatever. You go with what the crowd needs or wants, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will go ahead and do that and send that out to you. And I so look forward to talking to you again. I am always so amazed at how people can take a problem and then create a thing or a service or whatever in order to accommodate that problem. I just I love the creativity that people have. And I think this niche, this with 10,000 plus people a day turning 65, it just seems like it's a no-brainer, to
Yeah.
go for products and services in that niche.
Our thesis is that 90% of the people in the United States are not going to be able to afford independent or assisted living.
It's true.
Uh, we find all the time. In fact, I was we donated one of our devices So a couple of stories, Esther, if you don't mind. Do you have a
No,
hard?
I don't mind at all. No, no.
So a couple of stories. One, when we started this company, one of the first people that were testing this device, that Mark had been testing the device with, her name is Joan. She's on our website. She approached us and she said, "This has been such a huge value to my life, um, because she's an orphan. She's never been married, never had kids, uh, and she was dealing with some health issues. And she was like, that this just provides a lot of reassurance to me that if something happens to me, someone would know." And she's like, "I would love to pay this forward." And we said, and I remember this clearly. We were visiting colleges for my daughter in California, and we got on a call, and I was scratching my head and saying, "Okay, well, how does this going to work? Like, we're not a nonprofit, and this is not." And so we wrote something up, and we thought, okay, well, if you want to give us like $5,000, we could support 10 units or whatever, and she's like, "Okay, this is helpful, but I'm going to give you $50,000, and I want to buy 170 sensors for about a third of the village members that are in the Portland metro region that she thought lived alone." And so we are in the process of fulfilling that gift. And by the end of the year, we'll have 250 sensors out in the market.
I love it.
So it's been so rewarding, and uh, just reassuring to have that someone have that kind of confidence in a young startup. So that's one story. The second story was, we donated a couple of our early beta units that we took back because they had not been certified, whatever. And we donated a couple of them to an organization here in Lake Oswego, called Refit. Refit does basically what you used to do, which is they help retrofit people's homes with grab bars, ramps, etc., so that they can age in place. And one of the people that they nominated to get that first device was a guy named Steve Goldman. Steve is a former physical therapist, and he had a number of uh, seizures that happened since April of this year, and suddenly he finds himself, he's not able to drive. He's they haven't figured out why the seizures are happening. It may be related to diabetes, it's not really clear.
Oh,
And so I went to visit him, and I installed a device for him, etc. And he was just so not only grateful, but he was like, "I want a purpose. I want to be helpful for people because people are helping me. So tell me how I can help you." And so we get people all the time who are like, "I would love to buy this device, but I don't have someone on the other side that could actually receive a message so that they would invest in my well-being." And we're like, "Well, Steve, would you be willing to be that person?" And he's like, "I would love that." And so it's and one of our visions for this device is to build both community and purpose.
absolutely.
It's the purpose that you are creating with your friends of checking in on each other. That is immeasurable in value in creating that engagement. And that's what we want to do at a bigger scale.
Exactly.
So I wanted to share those two stories with you because they're so important to what we do.
They are. I love that idea of people who don't have anyone else. You know, my mom-in-law lived until 102.
Right.
And she said one of the worst things about growing older for her was that everyone else that she grew up with was gone.
Yeah.
You know, she
Right.
outlived everyone. So she didn't have anyone else to send to except, well, the children. But if she didn't have children, she would have no one. So I love that idea. I love that idea of Steve. Now, are you going to be actively looking for people to, I mean, otherwise what? He's going to get 50 or 100 or 1,000?
No. We don't intend that to be, but I think what was interesting was how quickly Steve went from, "I love the idea, I want this in my house," to, "How can I help?"
Yeah,
Not everybody has that capacity,
yeah, right.
right? And what we're hoping to do is, as we find new customers, can we connect them with people that might be of interest, similar interests, etc.
Yeah,
So we're still early days, but that's how we're thinking about it,
right. That's another thing on the whiteboard.
for sure. Our whiteboard is unfortunately very full already.
I know. I
Um,
know. It's like you need 3 or 4 or 5 whiteboards. I know.
yeah,
I understand that very well.
yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Kabir. Thank you so much for taking the
Esther, it's
time to
my
hang out with
pleasure.
me and geek out with me a little bit. I enjoy it.
You're
I'm
in the
gonna,
right company if you want to geek out.
yes, I love geeking out. None of my friends, their eyes roll in the back of their head, so I enjoy it. I love it. Um, oh, one question I do have to ask. How do you see AI affecting you, if at all?
There's a lot of noise right now about AI.
That's for sure.
Um, one of our core thesis is that we are social animals and we need connectivity.
Hmm.
And I know there's a lot of chatter, pardon the pun, of can we use AI to artificially provide stimulus or connectivity with people? But I think I've tried a couple of them. I think it's a band-aid, but in people need like what we're doing is a good facsimile, but they need more in person. They need a sense of belonging. They need to feel like they're seen. And
Yes.
and farming that out to a machine is not, in my opinion, an answer. Uh,
No. I
I think
agree. I agree. I mean, we need tactile touch at some point. I
right,
agree. I keep thinking of that movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix,
right,
where he falls in love with the little thing.
yeah,
And you're right. It can't possibly replace, but the technology that AI is bringing about, it's going to be interesting to see how that evolves. And you're right. At this point, it's a lot of noise. It's a lot of everything is being thrown like spaghetti on the wall, and who knows what ends up, lasting.
I have to also say though, Esther, we are huge beneficiaries of AI, right? So when we run into a problem, we rely on AI to say, hey, we've run into this problem, give us leads. Some of them are wildly wrong, but many of them are good leads into how to think about sort of solutions. And so the way I describe AI is it's a great way to lift all boats if you're willing to sort of engage with it, but it isn't necessarily the right answer when you're looking for true creativity or innovation, right?
Correct.
It's a great way to it's effectively a library resource, but you still have to do something with it.
Exactly. Exactly. It's just another tool in the arsenal of tools. And if you can
Right.
see it that way, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So
It's amazing, right? Your daughter is going to grow up in another world.
what I've said in the past and I continue to say is the job she's likely to do hasn't even been invented yet, right?
It's
It's
true.
just changing so quickly. And so figuring out how to add value and how to learn in a new environment is so important.
I know. It's going to be, I think for the future for the young people, it's going to be skills. All about skills. What skills can you contribute?
Yeah.
It's it's amazing. I wish I was
That's
20 again, but
oh, no, you don't.
only if I knew
Um,
what I know now. Then
no, you don't.
that's it.
Uh, what do you do for fun, Esther?
Oh, I love movies. I love to read. I live in a walking community. I have shops and restaurants and parks all within walking distance here. So, and I have a slew of friends that come and drag me out of my office most every day. I'm in the process of renovating my home for aging in place. So just today, also, I had the contractor and everybody here. There's festivals at the park right up here all the time. So I do that. So it's mostly local. I've traveled a lot in my life. So this is my 29th house that I've lived
Oh my
in
goodness.
my life. So I'm ready to just have a nice, easy life. My goal for my 67th year is to make life easy. And so I'm looking for systems, for programs, anything at all to make my life easy. But I need to keep learning. I love learning. And I don't think learning without teaching is beneficial. I have some friends who go to those free college courses, but then that's it. They go to the course, they learn about, ancient history or whatever, and then that's it. They never visit it or do anything with it.
Right.
Write a book, write an article, do something with it, but they don't. They just go on to the next thing. And that's why I like the webinars that I do for the directory members, because it forces me to keep learning about all of these new programs that are coming out. And I just finished a course on agentic AI, and it's just amazing what's happening. It's mind-boggling, but I love it. And I love learning from other people, because who am I to think that I know everything? I don't know everything, and I don't want to know everything. I want to surround myself with people who know everything so
Yeah.
that I learn from all of them, as long as they can honor the other person's knowledge base as well. I think that is so important. I
Yep.
think that's a very Portland kind of thing to do.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, and I think you're right on. The application of that knowledge is so important to retain
So
and
important.
process it. Right.
Yeah, so important. What's the point of learning it if you're not
Yeah.
going to do it? You could read 1,000 self-help books, but if you don't do it,
Right. Plus, that knowledge fades, right? Like if you don't apply it, it's gone. So
yeah, I mean, it was just a waste of time.
right.
But
Or it was entertainment, but
yeah, yeah. But I love it. And I think the group of people that are all in this niche, they're fascinating. So many different things that they're doing, and everybody's coming from so many different backgrounds. As an OT, you never get rid of that OT mentality. You're constantly looking at your environment and how can you modify the environment to the person. And I mean, that is just ingrained in me. I can't get rid of it. And since my experience was head injury, I'm always looking at that aspect of it and analyzing it. And my husband was a psychologist, and he then became a PA. So, I have all that. I mean, we were together 25 years, so I have all of that, experience from him. He used to come home from work as a PA, and he would say, "People aren't coming in to see me for this. They're coming in to see me for this." So, of course, he would know that because of all his history of psychology. But it's just fascinating. People fascinate me. They are the most interesting group. The brain fascinates me. I don't know, it's crazy. But I love your product, and I think you guys are on a really good path. I love how you brought all three people together with all your experiences, and you can't not do well. I mean, that's
appreciate your vote of confidence. There are days
yes,
it
you
doesn't
can't
feel
not.
like that, but I appreciate your vote of confidence.
Sure, you can. I don't think you can not do well. I mean, either you continue the company or it ends up being bought by a bigger company or merging or whatever. And you never know. You never
Yeah,
know.
you never
But
know.
yeah. All right. So I'm going to send you that info. Thank you for your time, and enjoy beautiful Lake Oswego, you lucky dog.
Have a great day, Esther. Thank you.
You. Ciao.
That's it for today's episode of the Senior Safety Advice Podcast, helping you and your loved ones stay safe, independent, and informed. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and share it with others who could benefit. For more expert tips and resources, visit seniorsafetyadvice.com. And remember, staying safe starts with staying informed. Until next time, take care and stay safe.